to everybody out there. How about some college football TV ratings? This past weekend, the highest drawing game in the country. And mind you, back when we were discussing all this realignment stuff, I talked about TV ratings, and I compared it to like pro wrestling, and how like a lot of my love for wrestling at times really got negated because you would go online and just want to talk about something or see people talking about something, and it got into this ratings battle, like the ratings war. And it's just like, I just want to watch the games. I don't really care if 5 million watched it or 6 million watched it or if 500,000 watched it. Like, I'm going to watch the games I want to watch. So I'm not doing it for the reason to go like the SEC's this or that or the Pac-12 had this. I'm just doing it just to show you kind of what the biggest games watched were, and no other ulterior motives other than that. So how you want to digest it, by all means, it's up to you. I just think it's cool to look at the big audiences for the game. So the CBS SEC game, as you might imagine, is a pretty regular juggernaut on top of the rankings, and that was number one this week. Alabama and Arkansas on CBS, 5.8 million for Razorbacks and Tide. The second highest drawing game, 4.7 million. About 1.1 million less over on ABC, NC State and Clemson, which I know I wasn't that high on. I already admitted my fault there, but that turned out to be one hell of a game, man. That was a terrific contest. Michigan, Iowa drew 4.2 on Fox. And then there was a bit of a drop-off, 2.79, Kentucky and Ole Miss on ESPN, 2.78, LSU Auburn, so some very strong numbers for the SEC. Wake, Florida State, 2.48 over on ABC. Oklahoma, TCU, 2.47, and then Oak State, Baylor, 2.41 million over on Fox. So those were your highest broadcasts for week number 5 of the college football slate. Alabama, Arkansas on top, NC State, Clemson, Michigan, Iowa, drop off Kentucky, Ole Miss, LSU, Auburn, Wake, FSU, OU, TCU, Oak State, Baylor. So all very respectable numbers there.
I think it's pretty good when you can get into the 1.5 million, 2 million. Of course, you get higher than that. That's a pretty good show. There's a lot of games that seem like they had a lot of good numbers.
That 2:30 window that Baylor played, there was like a bunch of games on at that time too. There was like 4 or 5 games that were all legit. So yeah, that was an impressive draw. And I agree with you. I think if you get 1.5 or more, you're on to something there. No matter really where you are, that's a solid number. But yeah, if you get it higher than that, you get into the 2s, the 3s, onward. Yeah, that's awesome.
Also, it goes to continue to prove what we've seen from Sam, what we've seen from Tony on these numbers. The conference has less to do with it than the time slot and the network.
Yes.
So if it's a good game, people will watch it.
Yep.
The thing that the SEC and Big Ten have done is somehow convinced you that they're the ones who did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And the other 3 conferences have to figure out how to get some of that juice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. No, you're right, though. It's just been, like I said, they were able to back up the marketing machine by winning a bunch of titles with different teams. Had they not done that, then we're probably not talking about them the way that we have been for the last 20 years. But because a handful of teams were all able to capitalize during this, for lack of a better term, like this positive propaganda that was being spewed out of Bristol, they capitalized in the moment, and that's why there's the juggernaut that there is right now. But yeah, ultimately it comes down to the network and the time slot and the game. And if you're on a good network at a good time and a good game, there's not a lot of competition, you probably draw a good number. But even if you've got some competition like that 2:30 window, there's people out there willing to watch if it's a good game like Baylor versus Oklahoma State, for example.
Yep.
So, good numbers there for college football. By the way, this past